Hello, today is March 6, 2019. This is the standard kubeadm office hours. And we have a pretty short agenda for today, so we'll try and keep it short and sweet, try and be respectful of everybody else's time. If you have other topics that you want to discuss, please add them to the bottom of the agenda. We'll try to roll through it. For those who are not in the know, this is Code Freeze Week. So that should be the primary objective for us as a group. For us to get those work items done for the priorities that we laid out in the beginning of the cycle. So as you can see on the doc, the priorities are primarily around HA and join phases. But let's start rolling through the agenda. First up, David, taints marshalling.
Daniel. I just wanted to. So this is not priority for the release. I just wanted to get eyes on this. The couple of people looking at the issue said it'd be worth bringing up here. It's basically there's the way, so there's an omit empty tag on the taints field in the node registration API, and having that omit empty prevents marshaling a different marshaling a different value if it's an empty slice versus when it's a nil slice. An empty slice means, there should be no taints, an empty slice means that there should be no taints, and a nil slice means sort of I don't care, let kubeadm decide. And the question that's being discussed in the issue is whether removing that tag violates the backward compatibility of the API. I think that through the discussion we've sort of figured out that what this would affect at most are tools that are incorrectly using the API, but that's sort of where the discussion is currently. If anybody has ideas,
can I ask a quick question about why a empty string of taints is applied versus non-existent? What's the use case for that scenario?
Suppose that I'm using kubeadm and I want to. So I'm using kubeadm types, and I'm marshaling a config to disk to pass to kubeadm. Okay, yeah. And I would like kubeadm to bring up a control plane, a control plane node, and not apply the master no schedule taint to it to begin with, right? That's part of the config, right? I should be able to specify a set of no taints. And that's not possible to do. So it's not possible to marshal that kind of config today.
Okay, that's reasonable. Again, we're not going to get into it this cycle, but I think it seems like a total reasonable thing. And as we batch stuff for API modifications in the V1 beta 1/115-ish timeframe, that seems like a potential, and it already has API change listed there, a potential one that you can add to your list, Ross, unless you already have it on your list.
I already have it, and actually in the modified Google Doc I sent today, it's already there.
You guys are on top of your game. Way to go. So we'll probably talk about this, Daniel, in the 115 timeframe, and we're going to probably batch up all the API changes for 115 in a V1 beta 1 thunk. So if you have other changes, or if you, as users, spread the word. If you have users who are using the configuration apparatus and need changes, 115 is the place to do it in, because what we're probably going to do is batch a bunch of changes, get them into one V1 beta 1, batch again for more changes, possibly get a V1 beta 3, and then eventually go to GA. But just so folks are aware.
All right, thanks a lot.
Yep. Next up, code freeze tomorrow. HA tracking issue. Yago's PR is merged. Merrick, we are beholden to a single PR. I'm trying to remember which one this is.
I guess Lumir is going to take this and go with it. I struggled with getting a HA cluster being built in kind. I have long documented history with trying to get that to work. I finally did get it to work, but sorry it's late.
Okay, Lumir, just poke me on review. I'm back, so I should be able to get to that as soon as possible.
Okay.
And we got to get this done today. No pressure.
So question, is it the end of day tomorrow, the deadline? I think it's end of day PST tomorrow.
Yeah, it's possible. I have to double check.
Okay. Yeah, so we have today and tomorrow.
Okay. This one's already done. So in merge queue. Other ones are already merged. Is there anything else that's critical that folks are aware of that we want to get in for 115, or are we kind of pretty much good? Because it looks like those are the two primaries. Lubomir looks like you're on top of both.
I don't think we have any critical by definition PR spending. We do have some PRs that I should double check. Like if we want to merge something, I'm going to ping you on the most important ones. Like for instance, we got a PR today from Ed Bartosz about a cleanup. It's not critical, but also basically I'm going to walk the list of PRs today and also close a bunch of issues in the kubeadm repo. Move to the next milestone.
Right. That seems totally fine. I'm going to probably, do you want to sync on that maybe tomorrow? I should have time and we can actually just do anything that you feel is necessary. And then if there's any ambiguity, we can sync. How's that sound?
Yes, I mean, we can make this optional because I don't know if there is any ambiguity at all. I think we are good.
Okay. I'm going to take a quick pass through the milestone too. And then perhaps, I don't know if next week we want to do a planning or if we want to do it the week after that. What do folks think?
So my preference is that we do it in a couple of weeks because to let the release settle for a while. I mean, the release is not up yet. I mean, to basically there are things that we have to handle, like critical bug fixes. If we have something that pops up at the last minute, this intersects with the planning session. So I'm not sure. I think it's probably better to do it in a couple of weeks.
I agree. How about documentation and updates to documentation? Have those been handled, especially for the HA updates?
So we have a tracking issue. I can fetch it up quickly. It's in the kubeadm repo.
This one?
114 docs updates. No. Let me pause the link quickly. Okay. It's in the chat.
So, Lubomir, I've never done this before, and I'm wanting to help out here, but I didn't know exactly what we need to do next steps. We're gonna copy them over somewhere, copy the old docs, and then update them.
So I can explain quickly. So every cycle we include a new document versions for the current release. So for the upgrade docs that Iago is going to do, for instance, we have a new doc that is 113 to 114 updates. For your case, you have to create a new page that is for 114 HA docs. Basically, the idea is to copy paste the old stuff, change the versions, and also possibly verify if something has changed, and add this as an extra sentence here and there. And also verify the whole setup. That's part of the documenting part. If you have troubles with the verification part, that's a problem. So I guess we can help. But the idea is that you can send the docs PR first, make the version changes, and then maybe I can help with the testing part, or Fabrizio, or someone else.
Okay. Well, I've gotten an HA cluster now, so I mean I should be able to. But yeah.
Thank you. So the deadline here is the 18th of March, which means that the PR should be completely merged, should be reviewed and ready to merge by then.
Have you gotten an email or a notification from the release team on the release notes yet?
I'm following the release team progress.
Okay.
And they have some ideas about new tools and stuff.
Every cycle, there's a new way of doing the release notes.
Yes. I mean, it feels like there is technical depth in there as well. I don't know. I guess we should just watch when the first draft comes out.
Okay.
And I don't have any details on the notes yet. I know that we still are not solving the problem with the external dependencies, but the good thing is that this cycle, the release team are going to do it instead of me, Dims, and Jordan Legit. And yeah.
I'll sync with Aaron out of band and try and figure out what's going on, when the time frame for the release notes is going to be in place. Because every cycle we scramble, and every cycle we find bugs in the release notes. So
there was also an idea to remove the SIG teams completely from these release notes. Because like Coastal Life Cycle, we are one of the SIGs that actually use the teams as a change walk. We add all the items that we changed. But other SIGs, like just dump a paragraph of completely unrelated information to the release.
Well,
and, yeah.
I'll sync there and see what the state is and talk with folks, and I'll try to read back by next week. How's that sound?
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks.
Yeah.
So we're good on docs.
Sounds good. I know that, if there are other people who are looking for that week time frame between planning, we do have a tremendous amount of other docs that kind of fall underneath our umbrella that we should probably deprecate. And deleting that stuff might not be a bad idea because it generally causes confusion. It falls underneath the SIG cluster lifecycle umbrella, but it's totally ill-maintained and points to nowhere. So that's a lot of the other how to stand up cluster docs, right? So if anyone wants to tag team with me on doing the cruft removal, as we talked about in the beginning of the cycle in the broader SIG, feel free to poke me.
We should probably go over them with you, Tim. I should participate because I noticed that a large portion of the setup folder in the docs is quote specific stuff. Yeah. And also I saw that the chair of SIG cloud provider wanted ownership of this folder as well.
Well,
it was yeah.
I wouldn't mind them owning it. So why don't I start to, there's broader docs problems that are outside of our minor updates that we typically do. I'll start working on that now-ish and try to address some of those things. Because we have a general problem with one of the number one questions we get asked is, how do I do the cloud provider integration? And we point to the Ether. We point to the super old doc, which allows people to enable for things like Amazon, but everyone else is kind of in this weird state space so they have no idea what to do. So I'll sync on that one. So I got two things to update on: the broader cruft removal and cloud provider integration. All right, Rafael.
Yeah.
Integration tests.
So for this one, this is about integration tests for the copy and the copy of the secrets for HA. And yeah, I just wanted to tell you that I'm starting a pull request for this. This is about the integration, not end-to-end tests. This is something that we should also include at some point. Since this is experimental, I don't think this is very, very pressing, but I would like to have this as soon as possible. So I will open up a request, I don't know, maybe this week to include that as well.
This is the wrong link, I think. Unless you're pointing to the tracking issue. You're pointing to the tracking issue?
Yeah. Yeah, but I should point to somewhere else. Yeah, you're right.
Rafael, can you explain how are you going to approach the integration tests?
Yeah, so basically this is very similar to what the mark control plane integration tests are doing. So it's basically mimicking a very, very simple AP server. Very, very simple. And basically what I am going to do is to check that the upload actually creates the secret with the contents, with the encrypted contents. That's for the upload part. For the download part, I'm going to assume that the secrets are there. And then I'm going to check that the certificates and the keys are written into the temporary directory with the right permissions. So that's two different tests.
So because I would rather see that built as there's a separate test suite for kubeadm end-to-end tests, and in the 115 timeframe, because I don't think we're going to be able to land that or want to land that for 114. In the 115 timeframe, we should have, there's a broader set of tests we need to enable in order to push HA to GA, and those are all behavioral end-to-end suite tests. We already have the test suite. You can easily add them there. And one of the things we need to do, and I know Fabrizio and Lubomir are working on this, is to set up the kind HA deployer. I don't know where we're at with that.
Just to talk about the integration test a little, there's something wrong in the way we do parallel testing in the Kubernetes repository. So if you set up a elementary API server and another test is doing the same, this can cause problems because the way Go is doing this, the endpoint of the API server you are going to use might be already used by another test that is running in parallel. And we had a problem with that before. One of the tests I wrote, it was perfectly well concurrent, but something else was conflicting with basically the path I was already using. So I think we should, like the suggestion that Tim is making to move this to the end-to-end framework is a better idea. And also me and Fabrizio are going to add support for like full end-to-end testing for this eventually.
Yeah, so
basically,
go ahead.
Yeah, I think we shouldn't, the simple API server idea, I mean the elementary, not the simple. This basic API server idea is not a good one. Even if you have one for the CRI sockets already, we should remove that too.
Yeah.
Because,
also the mark control plane also starts very an HTTP server. Okay, then we can ditch the idea completely.
Yeah, I think it'll simplify your life. One of the things we need to do for 115, and if you're already starting down this road, it's probably a good idea, is inside of the tracking issue, there's a breakdown of some of the end-to-end test cases we need to verify, such as copying out the config and making sure it's encrypted. There's a bunch of tests we need to do, right? But if we want to have a separate tracking issue for just the suite of tests, that relates to this broader issue, the location for this specific suite has already been created. So it's a separate test suite inside of the test directory. There's E2E kubeadm, kind of like the node, and you can add those tests there, and you should be able to exercise this against any cluster. And once we have the test automation in place to deploy the HA cluster with kind, then we just need to execute it as part of a proud job.
Yes, if you add these tests, it's kind of tricky to set up local cluster to test your changes. I guess I can try explaining. It's documented, but still, it's not that easy.
Yeah, it's not that easy.
As a start, you can just copy paste and add the logic, and then we can look at how to test this actually on a local cluster. And you can do it with kind. You don't have to spin an actual cluster on multiple machines.
Okay. Are you fine if I create specific issues so we are tracking that separately?
Yeah, I think that's reasonable because there's a lot of there's a ton of tests we need to add.
Yeah. Okay.
I think we've run out of agenda items. Are there other things that folks wanted to discuss that are on the list? Or not on the list of things to discuss? I'll count to 3.
I was wondering if I add. So in kind, we already support HA clusters. I was wondering if I should add this cycle test for that in our dashboard.
It's up to you. If you feel like you have time, do you want to break it out as a separate test inside of the test grid?
I was thinking the same dashboard for now, but maybe later we are going to have to maybe have HA upgrades and stuff, so it makes sense to be a separate dashboard as well. I already dumped like the kind jobs in here. Oh, looks like we have a breakage. No, sorry. I don't know, maybe I should make a new dashboard for kind specifically.
It would be, you might come into some weird anomalies. It's up to you, Lubomir, if you feel like you have time or not. I think it would be good. I think it's going to be a requirement for 115 for sure. But for 114, you know, it's up to you. Dealer's choice there. Okay.
And by the way, we are removing all the GC jobs eventually. Currently, the kubeadm GC dash number or master are already not release blocking, which is great for us. Now, if Kubernetes Anywhere breaks for some reason, we don't even have to fix it anymore. Except the stable and master jobs.
We need something that does the package installation.
The package installation, there is package installation. If you look at the bottom right of the list, there is periodic packages installed dep.
Ah, you're on top of things. So yeah, we can deprecate all the GC jobs, and then Kubernetes Anywhere is finally dead.
Yeah, except the kubeadm GC X on Y jobs. Those we don't have still a replacement for.
Oh, that's because of the upgrade scenario. We talked with Ben, and we wanted to get the upgrade scenario into kind.
I mean, it's not an upgrade scenario. You just have to get a newer version of the kubeadm binary because that's the SKU that this test is doing. It's testing a new version of kubeadm against all the kubelet in the control plane.
Dude, we as a group owe you many beers.
I mean, this is test infra. I mean, we had a LTS meeting yesterday, and people were talking about let's add tests for this, test for that. One problem is that they do not realize the level of technical depth in testing. It's brutal.
Yeah. It's brutal, absolutely brutal, and we've suffered underneath the yoke for many releases. So, I think as a group. I am very grateful and indebted to you for that work to get kind in place and to slowly peel away Kubernetes Anywhere.
No problem.
Anything else for the group? Going once, twice, 3 times. Okay, so action items from this meeting is I will follow up and start to do the doc breakdown for 114. There are 2 PRs that are in flight. Lubomir is working on both of them, and I can review ASAP. And we're going to start to churn on test apparatus and Jiggery for 115 cycle. Right? Sounds like a plan. Thanks, everybody.